Meeting is being recorded. Great. While we wait for people to trickle in, if you want to go ahead and throw your answers in the chat to these questions, totally optional. I'm just curious, what organization do you work for? What database are you using if you're using a database, CRM? And what email program are you using? For some of you, the answer to question 2 and 3 might be the same. You might be using Boomerang as both your database and your email program. Thank you so much. All right, we've got people using every action for both. Great. Salsa, CRM, Salsa Engage. Wonderful. Neon for both. Great. Got a lot of integrated solutions here. This is awesome. Oh, nice to see someone else from the Denver area. I am in Boulder. Salesforce, every action, Salesforce, MailChimp. Craig, we should connect later. Great. Neon and MailChimp, HubSpot. This is great. Razor's Edge, Luminate, awesome. We have a lot of information to cover today, so I am going to jump right in. I also want to mention that my colleague Michelle is here with us in the chat as well. So if you have questions in the chat, feel free to throw them in at any time. I will do my best to answer them in the presentation. Michelle will also be answering some of them as well. And together we'll make sure that we get all of your questions answered. All right, so I'm Patty. You don't need to know much about me other than I worked in nonprofits for years and years and years. And now I am a consultant who helps nonprofits primarily with their digital marketing. So I love any technology-based solution that makes your lives easier. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So again, throw your answers in the chat if you would be so kind. I'm curious to know, have you ever set up an automated email welcome journey? So go ahead, throw an A in there if your answer is yes, B for no, or C, what's a welcome journey? All right, we have a nice mix of yeses and nos. Glad to see a lot of people have done this. If you haven't done this, you're in the right place. So far, nobody is saying what's a welcome journey. Great, you're all somewhat familiar with the concept. So just to define it really quickly, so we're all on the page, an email welcome journey is a series of emails sent directly after someone takes an action with you, usually triggered automatically. These have a lot of names, a drip series, a nurture sequence. These are all pretty much the same concept. I prefer the term email welcome journey. So I wanted to start by emphasizing this concept of immediately after someone takes an action with you. So research shows that's the best window of time for you to contact someone else, is right after they have contacted you. And so when I say take an action with you, that might be they donated, maybe they signed up for your email list, signed up to volunteer, signed a petition, registered for an event, whatever it might be. The window of time immediately following that action is the time when they're most receptive to getting an email from you. And so that's the time that we want to make sure we're capitalizing on. And I wanted to just use a real world example to emphasize why that window specifically is so important. So if you guys could picture a cute little restaurant that you are going to be attending for the very first time. You're going to dinner tonight at this cute little spot. I would love to know, when you go to a new restaurant for the first time, what brought you there? What reason might you go try a new place for the first time? Feel free to, again, throw your answers into the chat. For me, awesome. These are great answers. Word of mouth, absolutely. For me, it might be a friend told me about it. I've been raving about it. I need to try it. Heard about it from a friend or on social media. Yep. Maybe you did a bunch of research. Maybe you really love Peruvian food, and so you found the best Peruvian restaurant within a 20-mile radius of your house. You did a deep dive into some Yelp reviews. Natalia says, somewhere I pass by frequently. Yeah, maybe it's a place you've always wanted to check out. You walk by it all the time. It looks great. Maybe you were out for a stroll looking for a place to eat, and this place really jumped out at you, seemed better than all the other restaurants you walked past. But yeah, you probably put some effort into finding this restaurant, into going to this place. It probably wasn't completely accidental that you ended up here. Okay, so scenario number one, you walk into this new restaurant, you've never been to it before, and imagine that the staff greets you with a smile. And they offer to take your coat, they ask if you've been in before, they want to know, would you like to sit inside, would you like to sit outside? At this moment in time, how do you feel about your decision to come to this restaurant if this is how the staff is greeting you? Are any of you regretting your decision to come to this restaurant? Sarah says she feels pretty solid about her decision. Yes, absolutely. If it's the place in the picture, I'm feeling good. Yeah, right? Like, this is a really cute spot. You're really excited to go here. You're probably feeling pretty validated. Like, I made a good decision and I feel supported in that decision that I made. This was good job, me. This is going to be a great evening. Now I want you to picture a different scenario where you walk into this restaurant for the first time and you're being ignored. The staff is busy. They're cleaning up. They're taking chairs, pushing them back under the table. You can hardly get their attention. How does this make you feel if you walk into a restaurant and this is what happens? I know that if it was me, I might be wondering, like, are they open? Should I have made a reservation? Should I be here? These are some great answers. You feel unwanted, unvalued, you want to leave, you're questioning this decision. Nice answer from Nikki, understanding, because you know how hard food service is. Yes, but also less welcomed. Yeah, so you would second guess your decision, right? You might be like, should we go? Should I not be here? Is this a bad time? The opposite of validated, right? You are second guessing your decision and wondering if it was not the right decision. So I just want to bring up this real world scenario to emphasize that we all want to be welcomed and we all want to be validated and we all want to be appreciated, whether it's a restaurant or pretty much any other decision that we make. It's always nice when we're greeted with enthusiasm and gratitude and we feel really good about that decision. So in the nonprofit world, when we follow donations with silence or with nothing more than an automatically generated receipt, which I still sort of feel like is a form of silence, we're being like the restaurant in scenario number 2. And email welcome journeys can change that to make sure that we are not ignoring the people who mean so much to us or making them feel like they're questioning their decision to support us. Okay, so I want to jump into some welcome email statistics, and I'm also going to steal a tactic from one of the wonderful presenters yesterday. If you're still with me, please go ahead and throw a plus sign into the chat if you're ready to dive into these statistics. Nice, thanks guys. Okay, so welcome email statistics. Users who receive a welcome journey show 33% more engagement with your brand. Why is that important? As some of you are probably familiar with, the average nonprofit has a donor retention rate of about 40 to 45%. That means more than half the people who give to your organization will most likely never give again. But if we can get them 33% more engaged with a welcome journey, then we can change that statistic. We can have lots more people coming back to donate to you again and again. Okay, a quick question. Do any of you know what your average email open and click rates are? Throw your answer in the chat. A for yes, B for no, C, not really sure. This is an annoying statistic to keep track of. I don't want to keep track of this. Okay, solid A's across the board. Awesome. I am guessing that your open rates are probably around this number, probably around this click rate. This is the industry average, around 20% open rate, around 2 to 3% click rate. Maybe you're an outstanding organization and you're seeing 30% open rate. And yes, thank you. That's a really good point. These numbers are not always totally accurate. This is sort of a guessing game. But what I want to show you guys, not to beat you over the head with too many statistics here, but the average open rate for a welcome email is 50%. And so that makes it more than twice as effective as standard newsletters. I see we have a question. Is this specifically pertaining to nonprofits or in general? I think this applies to nonprofits and to everybody. I've set up a lot of email welcome journeys for organizations, both nonprofit and for-profit alike. Again, not to overwhelm you with too many numbers, but here is the real world data that we saw with the welcome journeys we created. So each of these organizations had an average open rate that was more than doubled, sometimes tripled in their email welcome journeys. Same thing with their click rates. So we had a small nonprofit usually saw about a 15% open rate for their emails. When it came to their email welcome journeys, it went up to 50%. Same thing with the click rate, it was around 3%, went all the way up to almost 8% click rate. So these welcome journeys work. They work really well. People want to get these emails from you. They want to open them. They want to read them. They want to engage with you. That window of time following their action is a magic time. And I really want you to make sure you're taking advantage of it. So, all right, let's jump into creating an email welcome journey together for your organization. In general, for all welcome journeys, here at the Purpose Collective, we recommend the following structure. We think you should send 3 to 5 messages, starting immediately after this, whatever the action was, and continuing for up to 4 weeks later. Could be less time if you have fewer emails to send. And this is really, really key. We always want to provide something of value to your supporters. So these emails are not an opportunity for you to talk about how great your organization is. These emails are an opportunity for us to make our supporters feel valued and appreciated, to offer them something that we think that they would like. Really, we just want to make sure this is about them. It's not about us. It's about our supporters. And we want to keep the focus on them. I also see we had a chat. Are the stats for welcome series for subscribers or donors? Those statistics that I shared were they were aggregate across several different journeys. Some of them were for people who had joined an email list, new subscribers. Some of them were for donors. So the results are strong no matter what type of journey we're talking about. Okay, so we're going to make a donation welcome journey today. I think if you don't have time to create a bunch of different journeys, I think starting with this one is a really smart tactic. Our donors are some of our most important supporters. They are the ones who are the most engaged with us. We really want to make sure they feel appreciated and feel like they want to come back and give again. So we recommend structuring it with 5 emails. So the first email we suggest should be a plain text gratitude message that should come 0 to 24 hours after the donation is made. The reason that I say 0 to 24 immediately would be best, but some folks are dealing with like an overnight sync where their donation data isn't maybe showing up immediately in their email program. And so if that's the case, it's okay to send this first email 1 day later. The second email that we recommend sending is a story of impact, and this would be 1 to 3 days later. This is ideally a story of how their donation is making an impact. So we want to say, thank you so much for your support. you're changing the world. Here is a story, a heartwarming story, an emotional story, a really impactful story of how your donation has changed lives, has made the world a better place. The third email that we suggest sending is a request to take action, any action that is not another donation. So this might be inviting your donors to attend an event with you, sign a petition, share a post on Facebook, take a survey, some sort of action that sort of gets them to be more engaged, draws them into your inner circle. And this would come about 1 week later. The fourth email we recommend is another storytelling email. Storytelling is really powerful. So put another one in the mix, and this would be 2 weeks later. Fifth and final email we recommend sending is a request to become a monthly donor. And this would come 3 to 4 weeks after their initial donation. And we really only recommend sending this one if you are able to segment your list such that monthly donors are not going to be receiving this message. The last thing you want to do is ask a monthly donor to become a monthly donor. So if you don't feel like you have that segmentation capability quite yet, you could skip email number 5. But we have seen really good results with people actually saying yes to this request when we put it in a donor journey. All right, a few more details on this journey. The trigger, the thing that's going to automatically set these emails into motion, is when a new one-time donation is made. The goals of this journey, we really want to express gratitude first and foremost. I don't think you can say thank you too much. Being thanked is really nice. We want to validate the donor's decision to give. Again, it's like that restaurant example. Validate all of the efforts that they put into making this donation. We want to draw them more fully into the story of the organization. And if we can, convert them to a monthly donor. All right, so apologies. I think we've got a closed captioning problem. Looks like Thomas is on it. Question from Sarah, would you exclude these new donors from your general monthly emails so they're focused on this welcome journey? Excellent question. Yes, I think when you are getting this journey, it is the only thing you should be getting. So if you can segment this population away, keep them out of your general email newsletter, I think that's the best strategy. We don't want to overwhelm them with too many messages. Also, there's probably a pretty good chance that your general monthly newsletter has a request to donate in it, and we want to make sure that we're not accidentally asking someone to give a few days after they just did. Is the first plain text email different from the receipt? Yes, it is. So I don't count the receipt as part of this journey. I think that's sort of just an automated function that happens. It's a very transactional email. So we want to make sure that we are sending this plain text email that's completely separate from anything that feels like a transaction. We just want it to feel like it's an expression of gratitude. Looks like we have a question about our fundraising teams. Adam and all links in the welcome series lead to our donation page. The email content has information about the work, but all links go to the donation page. My stance, I agree with your marketing team. I don't think that all links in these journeys need to lead to a donation page. Remember, these are people who just gave. So they are doing exactly what it is that they've done exactly what it is that you want them to do. And I think it can come across a little insensitive to say, hey, we know you just gave on Tuesday, but it's Friday, you want to give again. That can feel like maybe a little bit too much asking. We might get some donor fatigue with that. Okay, so email number 1, plain text gratitude message. Right, maybe it's from your executive director, maybe it's from the founder of the organization, maybe it's from someone else who hopefully would have a recognizable name, hopefully someone that donors would want to hear from. And ideally, we're going to send this immediately after the donation, maybe it's a couple hours after, maybe it's a day later, based on the sync settings for your CRM and your email program. Okay, here's an example of this in action. This is from the Blink Now Foundation. This is the founder and executive director, Maggie Join, founder and CEO. So what I love about this email is that it's true plain text. There is no fancy HTML in here at all. And this is a really great way to have your email stand out in the noise of the world. So when there's a lot of fancy HTML emails floating around, a lot of like things that feel kind of corporate, an email like this feels personal, feels like a nice touch. And so the other thing I want to point out about this email is that this is written in her voice. This is how she usually communicates with her supporters. She speaks in a very, very real, very open, very vulnerable tone of voice. And you can see she also uses a lot of you-focused language to thank the donor. So she's saying, hey, the work that I do, it's really hard. When I get donations, it means a lot. Sometimes it moves me to tears. When you give, it directly transforms the lives of our children here. Thank you so, so much for your generosity. So this feels personal, it feels genuine, and it feels also in line with their normal communication style. Here's another example from an organization called Next Step that works with young adults who have chronic illnesses. They have a much different tone at their organization. They're really fun and goofy. They put on summer camps every summer. This is their founder and executive director, and this email is written in his voice. So he uses language like, hey, you're great, you crushed it. Pat yourself on the back today, you deserve it. You can see his photo is him like laughing out loud. So all of this is very in line with their marketing style. The other thing I want to point out about this plain text email is that it's super short. It's just a few sentences, but it's enough to communicate that we're really grateful for you. You've changed lives and your donation means a lot to us. You'll notice this one is not a true plain text. That's simply because Constant Contact, this is the closest we were able to get to being plain text. And moving on, here is another plain text email from an animal sanctuary. This one's also really heartfelt. And I want to point out here that they decided to start sending these emails about 6 months into their operation. So they retroactively went back and thanked people who had given in the last 6 months at the same time that they activated their donor journey. And the founder says, you know, I'm sorry that you haven't heard from me sooner. I would have loved to have sent this sooner, but I've been so busy rescuing all these donkeys. And your kindness is really important. Thank you so much for being part of this work with us. So it's totally fine to be open and real and vulnerable in these messages and to be really transparent with your supporters. Also, just a quick note about this message is from the Adventure Project. This was on Giving Tuesday. I got this at like 10 o'clock at night. I had given to them earlier in the day. Plain text, super short. I actually don't know if a real person sat down and typed this to me or if this was automated. If it was automated, they fooled me. It was really well done. It just says, wanted to say thank you. They also made a note here, seeing me as a returning donor. Please know your continued support is truly appreciated. They recognize that. So again, super short, super effective. So just to summarize this first email written from the first person, if you can, someone from your organization. You focused, use as much as that you language as possible. Thank you for your donation. Your support means the world. Couldn't do this without you. Make sure it feels personal, vulnerable, meaningful. And gratitude is really the goal here. What questions can I answer for anybody about this first email before we move on to email number 2?
You had one question from Marilyn, and I responded to this in the chat, but Marilyn had asked whether they should replace their current snail mail as their touch point number one with an email, or if they should skip the first email. So, Patty, maybe your thoughts?
Yeah, I think snail mail can work great in conjunction with an email welcome journey. Direct mail is a wonderful way for people to feel like they're getting true, meaningful personal attention from your organization. I the one question I do have though is how much time is it taking your staff to send that snail mail? Are you sending it for every single donation, even if it's a $10 donation? Um, Maybe it might make sense just from a timing perspective to say that everyone's going to get this plain text email in this journey. And then if you gave, I don't know, $100 or more, you'll also get the snail mail letter, which would be different content from the email. But that's up to you and your team and how much time and energy you feel like you guys have. But yeah, I don't think it needs to be an either or. I think these can complement each other really well, snail mail and email. And sorry, last bullet point here. Of course, we want this to be true plain text if possible. Okay, so things for you guys to think about. Who from your organization could this plain text gratitude message come from? Is it your executive director? Is it someone else? And also, what's your organization's tone? Are you fun and goofy? Are you warm and nurturing? Are you a little bit more serious and somber? There's no wrong answer here. We just want to make sure it feels like you, feels authentic to you. All right, email number 2. We're going to tell a story of impact in this email. And ideally, we're going to send this 1 to 3 days after the donation. This is the Next Step organization, again, who works with young adults. This is a story of a young woman who got a cancer diagnosis, felt like her life was thrown off track as a result of it, went to the programming that this organization offers, and felt like she was able to find her voice, find her community, find support. And it's a really powerful story of someone's life being changed. And I just want to note here, she uses you-focused language. She says, I participated in this program, one of the important programs made possible by generous donors like you. So this is, again, we're inviting the donor in. We're saying you have a really important role in what we're doing. We're really grateful that you're here. Another example from the donkey sanctuary. This is sharing the story of Patches, the donkey in the picture here. Patches had a really rough go of things. He wasn't sure he was going to make it. He made an amazing turnaround. He is now basically a social media celebrity, partially because we're telling his story in this welcome journey and saying, hey, stories of transformation like this is what you've made possible. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Another organization called Each Step Home that helps to free children detained at migrant detention centers at the border. As you can imagine, they have some really powerful stories to tell. This is from a first-person narrative from a mother whose name was changed, details were changed to protect her identity, but she's basically saying, it was really hard to be separated from my son. It felt like I had a piece of my heart ripped out. But thanks to your support, we were able to fight for his release. I have him by my side. My family is back together. You've changed our lives. Thank you so much for your support. We always want to make sure that we're portraying the community members that you work with in an empowering light. This is their chance to tell the story of how they were able to change their situations and you were there by their side helping them along the way. We don't want to get into any sort of savior complex or unethical types of storytelling. Okay, so elements of this second email, we're telling a story of impact. If you can use a first person narrative, please do. They're really powerful. Also, it's a great way to make sure that your community is able to tell their stories in their own words. And really important here is tell a really, really good story. We as human beings, our brains are wired for stories. It's how we interpret the world. They're really motivating for us. They really stick with us. So if you can tell a really, really good story, something that's heartwarming, sweet, emotional, whatever the case might be for the population you're working with, for the focus area that you have, think about something that really produces emotions. We still want it to be you focused. This is still about the donor saying, you played a really important role in this. Thank you so much. The donor is the hero. And another important note I want to mention here, we recommend always having all of your marketing materials be at a 6th grade reading level. So don't feel like you need to use fancy language. Don't feel like you need to use big words. All of us resonate actually a lot better with simple language, simple word choice. You can avoid things like infrastructure and how we've been improving systematic, whatever other big words are often thrown around in our industry. So there's something called, and I always feel like I'm mispronouncing this word, but the Ahern test. It's a really cool tool from Bloomerang. You can take any text that you've written and plop it into this tool and it will grade it for you. It'll say, okay, this is at an 8th grade reading level. It'll also tell you how many times you've used the word you versus words like we and us. It'll grade you on that as well. It's really helpful. Thank you, Michelle, for putting that in the chat. I really appreciate that. It looks like Craig also shared another one for us. And we have a question. Should the sender of the email still come from your organization or the name of the person, like Patty? I always like to see a person's name in the sender line. If you want, you can combine the person's name with the organization. So it could be like Patty Breach, Common of the Purpose Collective. But I think it feels more personal when it's coming from a person and it's more likely to be opened. Again, we don't want to feel like it's another corporate message, it's a mass-produced message that just came from an organization and it's not really personal to you. Okay, so I want you guys to think, what amazing story can you tell about your organization's work? Is there, when you're at a dinner party and people ask you what you do and want to hear more about your line of work, what are the stories that you tell? What are the things that come up? Can we put those in an email? Can we do it in an empowering light for whoever we're talking about? Think about what kinds of stories you can share and say, hey, donor, thank you for making this possible. All right, 3rd email in the series. This is an engagement request. We're going to ask people to take another action with you. Maybe it's completing a survey. Maybe it's signing a petition, sharing a photo on Facebook, attending an event. We do want to make sure that we're not asking for a donation at this point. And this is about 1 week later. So 1 week after the previous email. And another quick note I want to mention here, we really want to make sure that these journeys are as evergreen as possible, meaning we don't want you to have to go in and update them all the time. We want this to be a set it and forget it thing. And then maybe once a year, once every 6 months, you are going in and updating it, taking a look at it, making sure it needs to be updated. But with events, that can be a little bit tricky here because you don't want to share an event that's happening next month and then you forget to update your journey and now your journey is out of date. And I apologize, there's some loud noise going on in my neighborhood. I don't know if anyone can hear that. Thoughts on sharing volunteer opportunity for this one? I think that's great. I think that's an excellent example of a way to get people to be more engaged. Okay, here's an example of this from the Adventure Project. Their request for more engagement is simply just, hey, would you reply to this email and say hi? We'd love to get to know you. This is from their founder, super simple. It feels like a nice heartfelt note. It feels like you're sort of being invited in to be closer to everyone at the organization. This is the Donkey Sanctuary again. They chose their engagement request to be, will you share this photo on Facebook. Will you help raise awareness for us that donkeys around the world are facing this terrible plight of they're being bought up and slaughtered and used to produce medicine. So with their particular cause, not a lot of people know that the world's donkey population is under threat. And so part of what they want to do is get the word out, and they're asking their donors to help them do that. This is the Blink Now Foundation again. So this is one of the co-founders, and he's saying, everyone here at our organization has a really important story to tell, and we also believe that you have an important story to tell. Will you take this survey and tell us your story? We want to learn more about you as one of our donors. So elements of this email, we want it to be warm and inviting. The goal is that you want to become better friends with this donor. You want to get to know them. Maybe you even want to hang out if you have events or volunteer opportunities. It's an invitation into the inner circle. And oops, sorry, skipped ahead a little. So those are the elements of this email. And what I'd love for you guys to think about is, what action do you want your donors to take? Is it a volunteer opportunity? Is it an event? Is it a petition? Is it a survey? Is it just, will you please share this photo on Facebook for us? Is it, will you just respond to this email and say hello? Think about what feels like a good fit for your organization. But again, we're not asking them to donate. That is not the engagement request we're making. Any questions so far about emails 1, 2, and 3? Thank you for sharing that summary, Michelle. All right, if you think of questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. All right, the fourth email, we're back to storytelling again. Stories are powerful. This is going to come about 2 weeks later. So again, I'd love for you guys to be thinking, what are the powerful stories you can tell about your organization? This is Next Step again, works with young adults with chronic illness. This is another story about a young adult who got a cancer diagnosis and really struggled, had to drop out of school, felt like they were lost. But then they found this program, they found music therapy, things were turned around. You as a donor should feel so great that lives like this are being so wonderfully affected thanks to your donation. Another example from Each Step Home that works to release children from migrant detention centers. This is a really powerful story about a 5-year-old boy who suffered a skull fracture. The government was trying to deport him to make his case go away. They fought for him, got him reunited with his family, and now he just gets to be a normal kindergartner. And so they say, you made this possible because you spoke up for children like him. You've given all these kids a chance to just be kids. This is the type of stuff where someone reads this story and they feel really good about the work that you're doing. They feel really good about their role in it. And they're very likely to give again. Who wouldn't want to make more stories like this happen? This is another example from the Blink Now Foundation. This is one of their students who graduated from their school, who is going on to study university, got a full ride scholarship in the United States. And he's saying, thanks for providing this opportunity. I've worked really hard and this has always been my dream. And it's wonderful to know that you supported me in what I've been doing. All right, elements of this email, pretty similar to the other storytelling email, still first person narrative, still trying to stir up emotions, and it's still you focused. So again, my task for you guys, what's another sweet, heartwarming, amazing story that you can tell about the work that you're doing? I know that all of you are doing really, really amazing stuff. So how can we talk about it? All right, email number 5. This is where we are going to make a request that they become a monthly donor. This is coming 3 weeks after the previous message. So we're about a month away from their initial donation at this point. And one thing that I think is really important about these messages is we're going to acknowledge very clearly that they just made a donation a month before. So we're making sure that they feel seen, and that they feel like we know who they are, we appreciate them. This is not just, us being greedy and asking for more money. So this email from the Donkey Sanctuary opens by saying, hey, you recently made a very generous decision to help rescue donkeys recover from past abuse. We were thinking that maybe you'd like to make an even bigger impact by donating monthly. Because you showed that you care, we feel like this is a good fit for you. So this is a great way to ask while acknowledging that they just gave. Again, the Blink Now Foundation does a similar thing. They start off, this email is just a plain text email from one of the children's caretakers in Nepal saying, last month, you made a generous donation to support our family in Nepal, and we're still thinking about you. We're still grateful for you. By the way, raising all these kids in Nepal is a lot of work, and we were wondering if you wanted to become a monthly donor to support us. So I just want to emphasize that this is not like a one size fits all message that says, here's all the reasons why you should become a monthly donor. This is very specifically saying, you gave very recently, we're grateful for it. And because you gave, we thought you might be a good fit for this. So elements of this email, again, starting with gratitude. We're showing the donor that we know exactly who they are. We remember their last gift. And here's the case that we're making for their continued support. So my task for you guys, how will you ask your donors to change the world with you? How do you want to make this request for them to become a monthly donor? All right, these are the 5 emails in summary. Number 1, plain text gratitude. Number 2, story of impact. Number 3, engagement request. Number 4, back to storytelling. And number 5, monthly giving requests. I hope this makes sense to you guys. These journeys are really impactful. I hope you get them set up. And I just want to add a few more tips. I know you guys are busy because you're nonprofit professionals. So if you want, maybe just start with 3 emails in your welcome journey. You can always add to it later on. It's better to send 3 than it is to send none. So if 5 feels overwhelming, or if you're not sure that you can segment the list to exclude the monthly donors, then go ahead and just start with 3. So I see we have a question. Any particular reason why email 1 works best as plain text? So this is, in our opinion, plain text feels personal. And it feels like a real person sat down to write you that email and to say that I appreciate you. And these words are from my heart. And this is me wanting to send this message to you so you understand that you're appreciated. Thank you for the 15-minute warning, Thomas. So you can try, every audience is different. You could try a plain text with your audience. You could see, are you getting a good response to it? Are a lot of people opening it? Maybe your particular audience won't respond well to it. I would be surprised if that happened, but you can always test it out, see how it works, see how it goes. Again, I just think it's a way of cutting through the noise in this world where we're all getting hundreds of emails that have all these photos trying to sell us stuff, looking very corporate, very polished. Plain text feels like it's different from the rest. So Nikki says, this is so helpful. I'm glad to hear that.
We have another question from Rebecca on if someone's taking this tip of starting with 3, which ones you would recommend?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I would probably go with the first 3 here. So send a plain text gratitude message, tell a story of how their donation has made an impact, and then ask them to become engaged. If you don't feel like that engagement request is a good fit for you, you're not really sure what you would ask them to do, or it feels like too much work to try to set up a petition or a survey or something like that, then I would just tell 2 storytelling emails. 2 things where they really feel like they are proud of the change they've made, the impact they've had on the world. What would you recommend if our organization doesn't do any kind of direct service work and there are no clients' individual stories to share? Good question. I'm guessing that you still have some stories to tell. So maybe your organization that works with environmental causes, or you're an advocacy organization. I think I'm guessing that there is a story of impact. Maybe it's not an individual person who can tell their story in the first person, but I think you can still sort of have a scenario where before this is what it was like. Here's how bad things were. We came along, we fought for change. Now things are better. We've improved this aspect of whatever our work is. It's okay if it's not a person saying, here's how my life was changed. It's definitely okay if you're saying, here's how the world was changed. Here's what you helped us do. Thanks to your support, we were able to do this together. It can still be really impactful, even if you're not talking about an individual. Do you have unsubscribe rate benchmarks for welcome series? Okay, so your organization is seeing a slightly higher unsubscribe rate on your welcome messages than other emails. In my experience, the unsubscribes have been about standard for the ones that we've set up. And I'm actually, as long as your unsubscribe rates aren't like alarmingly high on these, I think that's sort of a good thing. You're curating your email list right away by figuring out who wants to be on it and who doesn't. Some people just don't want to receive email, and that's fine. That's like, don't take that personally when that happens. That's usually just people wanting a less cluttered inbox. And I would be more impressed with all the people who did stay on your list after this welcome series. It means like they're really engaged with you now. They want to hear from you. They want to get your email newsletters. 3% unsubscribe rate for welcome donor series. That sounds about right to me. Maybe it's a little high. I would wonder, is there on your donation page, is there a question asking people if they want to be subscribed to your emails? That would be best practices to make sure that people are opting in to hearing from you by actively checking a box saying, yes, I want to get email messages from you. That'll definitely make sure that people who are receiving this they want it. Did I miss any other questions? There were a couple other tips I wanted to share with you guys, so please keep the questions coming if you have more of them in the chat. Another tip, we kind of touched on this in the beginning, but we do recommend segmenting your list. So anyone receiving this welcome journey should be removed from all your other solicitation emails. We even like to go so far as to say they should be removed from your general newsletter emails as well. We just want this to be its own thing where these are the only messages they're getting. So we're taking this time to shower them with gratitude, make sure they keep coming back, and we're not accidentally overloading them with too many emails because they're also getting our newsletter and they're also getting a fundraising email and they're also getting these other things. Some programs make this easier to do than others. I believe Salsa probably makes this the easiest, where you can say when someone's in this journey, keep them out of all other messages. In MailChimp, you can do this by adding a tag to someone when they start your journey. And a tag could just basically say they're actively receiving a donor journey. And then when you create a newsletter, you can say exclude anyone who has this tag. And MailChimp also at the end of the journey, you can say, okay, now that they finished the journey, take that tag off. But yeah, we want to make sure that this is a special time where they're only receiving these journey messages. And yes, I'm pretty sure this is what Salsa calls an email series. So sorry about that. If you want to see these in action, these are the organizations that we referenced in the presentation today. You're welcome to go to their websites, make a donation, see what happens with the journeys that you receive. They're all doing wonderful work in the world, so it's never a bad idea to support them. And yeah, what other questions can we answer for you guys? I also want to point out, oh, Thomas, I think that, there you go. The last message was direct to me. We offer something called free office hours here at the Purpose Collective. And I know that sometimes setting these journeys up for your specific program can be a little bit tricky. Like, how do you make sure you got the segmenting right? How do you make sure you get the trigger right? How do you make sure that the people that you want to be in the journey are in it and not the people that you don't want, or that people aren't getting this journey more than once? I would be happy to go through your specific program, your specific setup, answer your questions. If you just want, if you've created a draft of your 5 emails or your 3 emails for this journey and you want a second set of eyes on them, we'd be happy to spend an hour doing whatever you want, whatever is helpful to you. It's totally free. Both Michelle and I will be there every Monday afternoon. You pick a time slot that works for you, and we can help really get you set up on these welcome journeys. I think we're sort of on a mission to make sure every nonprofit in the world has these journeys set up, because we think they're so powerful. So yeah, if you want to join us at office hours, we'd love to have you there. If anyone wants to unmute and ask a question that way, it looks like we have about 7 more minutes before the session is over. All right, Sarah is asking, would this work for people who are already donors, but the welcome journey focuses on a specific campaign for which they are first-time donors? Yes, absolutely. So I think that once you get a donor journey, like a basic donor journey set up, there are so many other journeys that you could add. So you could say, if someone donates to this specific program, let's send them emails about that program that they contributed to. So maybe you're a wildlife organization and they donated to your elephant program. Great, send them emails that are specific to elephants. Or someone donates to the tiger program. Perfect, send them emails that are specific to tigers. Seth Godin likes to say that one of the things our supporters want most is to be seen. And so when you're taking actions specific to what they just did, hey, I saw you supported elephants. I think you'd love to see more information about elephants. I think you'd love to watch this video we put together about elephants. It really makes people feel seen. Like, hey, you noticed that I like elephants. You noticed that I wanted to support that. And that's great. That's great to do. I also think you can create a journey for someone signs up for your email newsletter. They subscribe to your list. You can send them a series of emails welcoming them. If they sign up to volunteer with you, if they make a recurring donation, you can send them a different journey than a one-time donation. If they're a returning donor versus a new donor, if you have the ability to get that sophisticated in your segmentation, you can have all kinds of journeys set up. We love setting up different journeys for different types of entry points, so to speak. Michelle, anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think one question we receive often is whether welcome journeys will work on someone's email provider. I think I saw some folks use MailChimp and just different services. Thoughts on this, Patty?
Yeah, that's a really good question. MailChimp does offer a great automated series. It's not available in their free program. So if you're using the MailChimp free version, you would have to upgrade. I can't remember which level. MailChimp is always changing it, but there's a certain paid level where they become available. A lot of the CRMs out there offer these types of automated series. I know that Neon does. I'm pretty sure the HubSpot does. Constant Contact does. Now I'm going to get mixed up on the name of all these emails. Campaign Monitor, I'm pretty sure it does as well. They're gaining in popularity, so there's a lot more availability for them. And if you have a program that doesn't offer these, like Bloomerang, for example, is a database that has an email capability, but they don't have this automated journey feature just yet. You can pair something like MailChimp with your Bloomerang database to make this happen. I see Sarah says she's been wanting to do this, but I've been dragging my feet. I understand that. That was the case for me when I worked for a nonprofit. We said probably for a couple of years that we knew we wanted to set up a welcome journey, and we just never made it happen. There were always more urgent things we felt like needed to be taken care of, fires to be put out first before we could create a journey. But yeah, I think they're really effective. Please feel free to use my statistics to convince your team if you need to. Feel free to sign up to office hours and bring your team so I can convince them for an hour. I love talking about these things. I'll talk to anybody about them. So however we can be helpful. All right, another question. Can we do this too much? I want a welcome journey for our members, donors, and maybe even event attendees. We put on week-long tours and many attendees also donate. I don't think that you can do this too much. I mean, one thing to note is if you're going to have all those journeys, I would just make sure you're not repeating content across those journeys. Each one is unique, so it doesn't feel repetitive to anyone. And again, that's I don't ever think anyone should be in one journey, more than one journey at a time. So when we set these up for clients, we have sort of like a hierarchy where let's say you sign up for the newsletter, so you start getting that journey, but then you make a donation while you're in the newsletter journey. We feel like the donor journey is more important than the newsletter journey, so we're going to kick you out of the newsletter journey, and now you're just going to get the donor journey. And same thing if you become a monthly donor, we feel like that journey is even more important than the one-time donor series, so we're going to kick you out of that one, and now you just get the monthly donor series. So that's a great question. I don't think it's too much as long as no one's ever getting more than one journey simultaneously. All right, I think we are coming to the end of our hour. I really enjoyed spending this time with you guys. Thank you so much for attending and hanging out. And for those of you who will be catching this on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. And we'd love to connect with you if we have the opportunity. Thanks, guys.